Welcome back, my dear friends. You know how it starts. Nothing too spectacular. They think they're clever, don't they? They slap a price on your head, like you're some pawn, just another cheap commodity in their pathetic game of control. It's so easy for them, isn't it? A few whispers in the right ears, a few bills passed under the table, and poof, your life becomes a number. But here's the thing they didn't account for. You're no one's pawn. Never have been. Never will be. They want to play the game? Let them. Let them throw their little tantrums, pull their strings, and think they've got you cornered. They're so naive. They don't see the truth standing right in front of them. They never did. It's always been this way, hasn't it? They think they have the upper hand. But the moment they marked you, they sealed their fate. You see, these people, they don't understand power. They think it's about money, influence, fear. But power's not in the hands of the rich, the powerful, or the so-called elite. No, power's in the hands of the one they underestimate, the one they dismiss as weak, vulnerable, the one they think is expendable. And that, my friend, is where they've made their fatal mistake. You're not a pawn. You never were. And the moment they placed that price on your head, they set the stage for their own destruction. They're like children with fireworks, amused by the spark, not realizing the inevitable explosion. Do they know how many times they've underestimated you? How many times they've seen you and thought, this one's easy, this one's predictable, this one's too weak to fight back? They didn't know that you've always been watching, always calculating. While they were distracted, looking the other way, you were learning, you were waiting. And now? Now that they've put a price on your head, now that they've made the ultimate mistake, they're about to learn what happens when they underestimate someone who knows how to survive. They're about to find out just how expensive their little gamble really is. They thought it would be so simple. Send a few men, wave a few bills in the air, watch you fall. It's cute, really. A child's plan. But what happens when the game changes? What happens when the victim becomes the predator? You see, they thought you would cower. They thought they could break you, silence you, bury you under their weight. They thought you would crumble under pressure, that you'd fall in line and beg for mercy. But what they don't understand is that pressure. That's what forges diamonds. And you, my friend, are no diamond in the rough. You've always been one. Sharp, unbreakable, unyielding. So what happens when their play turns against them? When their price tag doesn't buy them victory, but instead sends them spiraling into their own undoing? Oh, they've opened Pandora's box. You think this is about money? It's not. You think this is about a bounty on your head? It's not. This is about something far worse. This is about the moment they realized that the world they built, the power they thought they controlled, it's fragile. And you? You're the wrecking ball. You're the chaos they didn't see coming. The problem is, they're too deep in their own delusions to understand. They still think they can control the situation. They still think they hold the cards. But that's the beauty of it all, isn't it? They've played their hand, and now they have to pay the price. It's funny, isn't it? How they always think the rules apply to everyone but them. The rich, the powerful, the manipulative. They think they're untouchable. But you? You've never played by their rules. They put a price on your head. but they didn't realize the cost of what they were doing. You know how this works, don't you? It's not about buying what they want. It's about the consequences of that choice. When they made that decision, they sealed their own fate. They signed their own death warrant with their arrogance. Because when you're a puppet master, it's easy to forget that even puppets have a mind of their own. They don't understand that. They never did. And now the clock is ticking. Every move they make, every step they take, gets them closer to the consequences they so arrogantly dismissed. They think they can wash their hands clean. They think they can control the outcome. But here's the thing about consequences. They don't care about your plans. They don't care about your power, your money, or your connections. Consequences? They're blind. They just are. And now, those consequences are coming for them. Fast, brutal, unforgiving. They've opened a door they can't close. Every call they make, every decision they think will buy them time, is just a countdown to their undoing. They think they're in control. They think they've got everything figured out. But it's all just a facade, a house of cards waiting to collapse. And you're the hurricane that's going to bring it all down. The worst part? They don't even realize it yet. They haven't even begun to see the full picture. Oh, but they'll see it soon enough. The price on your head? That's just the beginning. What they don't realize is that by marking you, they've marked themselves. They've set off a chain of events that will unravel everything they've built. They've made you the villain in their story, but in reality, they're the ones writing their own destruction. It's so beautiful in its simplicity, really. They thought they could buy you. They thought they could control you. But the only thing they've done is awaken something far worse. They're standing on the edge now. One wrong step, one mistake, and they'll fall. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And when they fall, when the consequences they thought they could outrun finally catch up to them, that's when they'll realize what they tried to buy, what they tried to manipulate, was never theirs to control. The joke's on them, isn't it? They put a price on your head. And now they can't afford the consequences. But don't worry, my friend. The show's just beginning. And you're the one holding the strings now. Isn't it amusing how swiftly the tables turn? They thought their resources, their connections, their power could put an end to you. They thought you were just another obstacle they could brush aside. But here's the thing. They never saw you coming. They thought they had you figured out, didn't they? They looked at you, saw a pawn, saw a threat they could silence with a bounty. They didn't know you weren't a pawn. They didn't know you were the storm they'd been praying wouldn't arrive. They thought this was just about the price on your head, didn't they? How quaint. Their mistake was thinking that price was the end of it, that their price was the highest price. But prices, like time, tend to fall. The currency of their arrogance, it's already devalued. You don't buy power, you don't buy loyalty. What they bought was their own doom. Now that price, it's a joke. They threw a number on you, stamped it like a ticket to the end. But numbers? Numbers can be manipulated. Numbers can be ignored. Numbers can be erased. And what's left when the numbers stop adding up? What's left when the weight of your decisions suddenly sinks in, and they realize the value of a life doesn't fit in their ledgers? That's the moment they've been waiting for without knowing it. The moment they can't escape their own choices. When their wallets can't save them anymore. When the very foundation they thought was impenetrable cracks under the weight of their own greed. The price? It's a farce. The true cost, now that's something they'll never be able to pay. Oh, it's poetic, isn't it? The way their own hubris blinds them. They believed in their wealth, in their influence. They believed they could erase anyone they wanted with a simple transaction. But now their money doesn't matter. Their influence doesn't matter. All those little games they played. The contracts, the deals, the manipulations, they all fall apart. Every threat they've issued, every pawn they've sent after you, it's like a forgotten memory now. It fades away, just like they will. They've learned a brutal lesson, though they'll never admit it. They don't own the world. They never did. They were only given the illusion of control for a while, and now that illusion is shattering. Their money can't change the past, and it won't change what's coming next. You're not a threat that can be bought off. You're not someone who can be reasoned with. You're the consequence they never expected. And consequences, well, they don't play by anyone's rules. It's fascinating to see how the ones who thought they were untouchable are now scrambling. They've learned, too late, that a price on someone's head isn't a simple equation. It's a gamble, a dangerous gamble. And right now, the odds are stacked against them. They may have thought they could silence you, make you disappear into the shadows. But you've always existed there, haven't you? You've always been a shadow, a whisper, a name that echoed through the cracks of their perfect world. They didn't see it then, but they see it now. They understand, finally, what they've done. The consequences are closing in, tightening around their throats, and they have nowhere left to run. You think they're going to beg? You think they'll grovel? Please, these people, they don't understand the concept of fear until it's too late. They live in a world where power is everything, where your name and your influence can shut doors, silence voices, drown out the weak. But power is a dangerous thing when you can't control it. And right now, they're powerless. The money, the deals, they're nothing but empty promises in the face of what's coming. You're not afraid of them. They should be afraid of you. And when they realize that, when they realize they've gone from predators to prey, that's when it starts to hurt. It's painful watching them stumble, watching them pretend that the money, the power, the connections are enough to shield them from the consequences of their own arrogance. They'll try to distract themselves with more deals, more schemes. But the truth is, nothing they do now will stop what's coming. They made their decision. They made their move. And now, it's too late. Consequences can't be avoided. They can't buy their way out of this. They can try to make deals, try to buy protection, try to hide behind their wealth and influence. But at the end of the day, that price on your head, it means nothing now. It's a mere symbol of their weakness, their failure. They were never in control. They just didn't realize it until now. They'll try to buy time, try to negotiate, try to use every last ounce of their resources to escape the inevitable. But that's the thing about consequences. They don't care about deals. They don't care about money or threats. They come for you, relentless, unapologetic. They strike when the time is right. And now the time is right. It's like a game of chess, isn't it? The pieces are all in motion, but they're too blinded by their own confidence to see the checkmate coming. Every move they make, every decision they think will turn the tide, only seals their fate further. The walls are closing in, but they're still too busy looking for ways out. It's pathetic, really. They think they can outrun what's already set in motion. They think they can slip away from the consequences they've earned. But consequences? They don't give up that easily. They don't take bribes. They don't negotiate. They don't care about the rules. And in the end, they'll realize what everyone else already knows. They're just as human as anyone else. And just like everyone else, they have to pay the price. The very price they set for you. You'll watch as their empire crumbles, as everything they built, everything they thought they controlled, falls apart piece by piece. And they'll stand there, surrounded by the wreckage they created, unable to do anything but watch it all burn. They'll try to rebuild. They'll try to salvage their precious reputation, but it'll never be the same. Their name? It will be nothing more than a whisper in the wind, a memory of the fools who thought they could cheat fate. And as the smoke clears and the consequences settle in like dust, one thing will remain clear. The price on your head, it was never theirs to set. The consequences, those are theirs to face, and they'll pay one way or another. But they won't be able to afford it. Not this time. Not by a long shot. And the final act? Well, it's always the bloodiest. It's always the most brutal. So here they are, the ones who placed a price on your head, who thought they could outsmart you, outlast you. They're now realizing the truth. They've been outplayed from the beginning. They're caught in a game of their own making, and there's no way out. You see, there's no escape from consequences, no matter how high the price tag. And now that the time has come to collect, the blood is on their hands, not yours. It's almost laughable watching them squirm. They tried to buy their way out of this. They tried to hide behind their power, their influence, their wealth. But the thing about trying to outrun consequences is that they have a way of finding you. They don't need tracking devices or expensive surveillance. No, they simply need time. Time to catch up. And now, time has caught them. But there's no mercy. You can't feel mercy for the ones who pushed you to this point. You can't feel anything but satisfaction, knowing they brought this upon themselves. You can't help but relish in the sight of them struggling. Their empire of lies, corruption, and deceit. Everything they've built on the backs of others, everything they thought was indestructible, is now crumbling in the most violent of ways. The price they placed on your head? It wasn't just a bounty. It was a ticking bomb, and they never saw the fuse burning. What's worse is that they had a chance. They had so many chances to stop it, to turn things around. They had opportunities to correct their mistakes, to back off, to leave you alone. But they didn't. They kept pushing. They kept underestimating you. And now they face the consequences. No bargaining, no way to undo what's been done. This is the price. This is the moment where all their manipulation, all their careful planning, all their so-called power means absolutely nothing. The walls are closing in on them. Each decision they make, each desperate attempt to claw their way out of this, only seals their fate tighter. It's inevitable now. The blood will spill. They'll try to run. They'll try to fight. But in the end, they'll bleed just like anyone else. The game is over for them. They're no longer the players. They're the pawns. And it's such a beautiful thing to watch. They thought they could wipe you off the face of the earth with a simple mark on your head. They thought that with money, they could manipulate the system, control the narrative. But now the only narrative left to tell is theirs. And it's a tale of destruction, of failure, of the brutal price they've paid for their arrogance. It's a story they'll never finish telling, because the ending has already been written. In the end, it's not about vengeance. It's about something far more profound. It's about justice. It's about watching them suffer the consequences of their actions in a way they never imagined. They thought they could control you, break you. They thought you were just another pawn in their game, but you weren't. And now they're seeing the cost of their mistake in real time. Their world is crashing down, and there's no one left to save them. They placed a price on your head. They thought they were in control, but they never understood the most crucial part of the game. When you make someone else pay the price, you make the universe take notice. And when the universe takes notice, it balances the scales. And now they're going to pay. You can see the fear in their eyes now, the power they once had, the money they once flaunted. It's meaningless in this moment. Their faces pale, their hands shake, their voices tremble as they try to reason, try to beg, try to do anything to stop the inevitable. But they're not in control anymore. They never were. They were just players in a game they couldn't comprehend. So, what happens when they face the consequences? What happens when they realize the cost of their decisions is more than they can afford? It's simple. They break. They break in ways they never expected. It's not a quick fall. It's not the instant gratification of a single, decisive blow. No, their suffering will be slow. It will be relentless. Every mistake, every misstep, every desperate attempt to salvage what's left of their lives will only drag them deeper into the abyss. The blood will seep into every crack, every crevice of their crumbling empire. There's no escaping it now. And let's not forget the most delicious part of this all. They'll never see it coming. Oh, they'll know it's coming, but they won't know how. They won't know when. They'll try to control the narrative one last time, try to turn the tables. But every move they make will be their last. The price? Paid. In blood, in anguish, in their own weakness. It's the price they put on your head, yes. But the one they never understood was that it wasn't just your head they were marking. They were marking their own grave. Every decision they made, every step they took, led them here. And when they fall, when their world shatters into pieces, they'll remember one thing. There's no escaping the consequences. You can't run from what you've earned. And you can't buy your way out of the blood that's spilled. In the end, it doesn't matter how much money they have. It doesn't matter how many connections they've made. It doesn't matter how many times they've manipulated the game. The only thing that matters now is the price they're paying. And let me tell you, it's a price they'll never be able to afford.